My question is, what are the effects of urbanization on the environment? I was inspired to use this question by looking for the Gulf Motel and a speech to the United Nations General Assembly. Urbanization has many harmful effects on the environment. Some of these effects include reducing the total species account of plants and animals, the environment, and the climate. To begin, I will talk about the effects of urbanization on plants. The process of urbanization takes up a lot of space, and it ends up removing a lot of the natural habitat for plants. Because of this loss of natural habitats, many plants are dying and many plants have gone extinct due to this. There's evidence of much of plant wildlife and resources being displaced and removed by buildings. Richard Blanco says this in Looking for the Gulf Motel. Margaret Thatcher stated that when a forest is untouched and then a large demand of resources is placed upon it, destruction will quickly ensue. This destruction of resources and plants causes a scarcity of resources once they're all used, and then warfare will start and more wildlife is killed. Not only this happens during urbanization, but fragmentation also occurs. When a wildlife community is fragmented, there is an increased chance of fires, like the Amazon fires currently happening in picture, and other kinds of destruction effects. The effects of urbanization on animals is my next topic. The effects of urbanization on animals is very harmful to their populations and the amount of species in total. They have and will deteriorate rapidly if we keep going the way that we are. Animals are dying because of the effects of urbanization, just as they are dying due to a lack of food, resources, or even the destructive events themselves. According to the Neo-Malthusian method, or theory, eventually our growth will be limited by the amount of resources available, and we will need to push away all animals because they do not have the resources required to survive. If we were to preserve more land and resources for these animals, they would have more resources and less destruction events would occur, and as such, their populations would rise. Next, the effects of urbanization on the environment. Urbanization has caused a large increase in the temperature around cities, in the cities around it. The large cost of building the city increases the heat output. Then once the city is built, the concrete that was used to build it traps a lot of heat, increasing the general temperature. These temperatures increase from 1 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit in and around the urban area. In fact, this reaction from urbanization can spread its ecological footprint over 200 times the size of the city the data was taken from, according to Carmen Leach. Not only does it affect the heat patterns around the area, but it also affects the airflow and rain patterns in the surrounding areas. The increase in heat changes the airflow and can destabilize the air, causing it to rise and aid the creation of rain clouds, according to NASA. NASA also said that it was also found that on average, maximum rainfall rates in downwind regions often exceed the maximum values in upwind regions by 48% to 116%. Plants are proven to reduce the temperatures in and around them and are a great way to reduce urban temperatures and global temperatures. Next, finally, is the effects of urbanization on the climate. Urbanization greatly increases the carbon emissions in the world. In China, from 1978 to 2016, China's urbanization rate increased from 17.9% to 57.35%. China also produces approximately 75% of the world's total carbon dioxide emissions and 80% of the world's environmental pollution. One view of carbon emissions is that the higher the population is, the higher the occupational forest land and cultivated land there is. And increasing the living area of cultivated land increases the growth household energy, which increases the carbon emissions around that area. Because more people using more energy increases carbon emissions. On the other hand, there's an outlook on the environment's current condition. It's called ecological modernization. This view suggests that once the economy stabilizes, the economy allows a more efficient use of resources, causing a loss of the need for land use. This is a good view in general, but it has been proven that while core countries have in fact seen a rise in animal populations during economic stabilization, they've done so at the cost of peripheral and quickly growing countries. When a country is quickly growing or is smaller, it's when they're industrializing, and this is when they produce the most carbon and pollution, which completely offsets the good that's happening in core countries. As a solution, I believe that humans should preserve more space for natural land and natural habitats to inhabit. Its pros are that it can lower climate temperature and reduce residual carbon. It also helps to keep the populations of many plants and animals animal species safe, and even on the rise. Its cons are that it can reduce the growth of cities and can halt the new country's creation. Yeah.